Hello and welcome. So, you're starting university, and you keep hearing this phrase, academic argument. It can sound a little scary, right? But honestly, it doesn't have to be. In this explainer, we're going to break it all down, nice and slow, with really clear language and simple examples. Ready? Let's get started.
All right, here's our plan for today, our little roadmap. First, we'll figure out what an academic argument actually is and what makes it so different from a simple opinion. Then, we'll get into the really practical stuff, how to back up your points, how to bring in other perspectives, and how to use the right kind of careful language. And to finish up, we'll wrap it all up with the most important takeaways. Okay, first things first. It is so important to know that the word argument at university means something totally different from what it means in everyday life. Let's really dig into that difference right now.
You know, when we think of an argument in our daily lives, we usually picture a fight, don't we? It can get emotional, and the main goal is to win. But in the academic world, it's the complete opposite. An academic argument is a calm, logical position. The goal isn't to win, it's to explain and explore ideas, all based on solid research. So here it is, our main definition. An academic argument is a reasoned position on a topic. And it's not just floating there on its own. It's supported by reasons, examples, and evidence from sources you can trust. It's not just about what you think, but why you think it, based on real information. So every strong academic argument really has these four key ingredients. It has to be reasoned, which just means it's logical and makes sense. It has to be supported, so it's backed up with proof. It's based on research, not just what you feel. And, super importantly, it's open-minded. It shows you've actually thought about other perspectives. Okay, let's move on to something that trips up a lot of new students. We're going to look at the huge difference between just stating your personal opinion and building a real academic argument. So, have a look at this. Online learning is bad. It's short, it's punchy, but it's just an opinion. Is it an academic argument? Nope. And why not? Well, because it doesn't give us any reason or any evidence. It's just a feeling. Now watch this. We're going to transform that simple opinion into a proper academic argument. Did you notice the change in the words we use? Words like suggests, can reduce, and in some contexts. This new statement is specific, it's balanced, and this is the most important part, it's supported by evidence, which we can see from that little citation at the end. And that brings us to a really crucial point. Every single claim you make needs support. You can't just say something is true, you have to prove it. So here's a super simple four-step structure you can use to build a strong position. Think of this like a recipe with four parts. First, you have your claim, which is just your main point. For example, peer feedback improves academic writing. Okay? Second, you give a reason. Why is that true? Because students get to see multiple perspectives. Great. Third, you give a specific example, like peer reviews can help point out sentences that are confusing. And finally, you bring in the evidence to back it all up, like a study by Garcia in 2019 showed this. Claim, reason, example, evidence. You got this. All right, here's a next level skill. A really big part of university work is joining the academic conversation. And that means a strong argument doesn't just ignore other viewpoints, it actually considers them. This shows your professor that you've thought really deeply about the topic from all sides. So here's what that looks like in practice. You start with your main argument. Online learning makes education more accessible. Then you fairly acknowledge a counterargument. Some people argue it can lower student motivation. And finally, you offer a response that kind of balances both ideas, like suggesting a blended model. And of course, you support it with a source. This is what shows you're a thoughtful, balanced thinker. You know, how you write is just as important as what you write. The language you use in university is careful, it's precise, and it's objective. Let's look at some specific examples of how choosing your words well can make you sound much more academic. Try to avoid using absolute words like always or proves. Research is almost never that simple or certain. It's much better to use more cautious language. So instead of saying group work is always effective, you could say it can be effective. Instead of saying something proves a point, you can say it suggests a point. It's more accurate and it sounds way more professional. There's actually a name for this technique. It's called hedging. Now, this isn't about being weak or unsure of yourself. It's actually about being precise and honest. Using words like may, suggests, or appears to is a sign that you're a careful and credible writer. Now, this one is huge. Your argument is only as good as the evidence you use. As a general rule, you really want to use academic sources, like journal articles and books from university presses. Try to avoid using sources that are mostly just opinion, like personal blogs or social media posts to back up your claims. For most of your writing, you should also try to avoid personal phrases like I think or I believe. So instead of writing, I think this policy is unfair, you can be more objective and say, this policy raises concerns regarding equity. See how that shifts the focus from your personal feelings to the actual issue? Now, a little tip. Some classes or professors do want you to include your own reflections, so always check the instructions for your assignment. Whew, we have covered a lot. So let's slow down and summarize the key principles that will help you as you start writing your university papers.
Okay, here are the 5 big ideas to remember. Number 1, be reasoned, not emotional. It's a position, not a fight. 2, support every single claim you make with evidence. 3, consider other viewpoints to show you've thought deeply. 4, use reliable, trustworthy academic sources. And finally, number 5, aim for a balanced conclusion that's based on evidence, not just emotion.
So, as you get ready to start your next assignment, just ask yourself this. Which one of these principles am I going to focus on first? Maybe it's finding stronger evidence for your claims. Or maybe it's just practicing that careful academic language. Just remember, taking it one step at a time is the best way to build your skills and your confidence as an academic writer. You can do this.